Marvel flexed its muscles in Hall H. DC brought a little bit of magic to the show, but maybe not quite enough. And I've got my review of DC League of Super Pets. All that and the latest and everything cool today in The Rundown. Hey, welcome to The Rundown. My name is Victor Lucas, and I'm so happy to see you here in the Electric Playground. Today's episode is going out to Ryan E., who had this to say on my Nope review with Scott Jones. Great to see you two on camera together again. Keep these reviews coming. Thank you very much, Ryan. We heard from a lot of you guys that are very happy to see us working together again. It's been a lot of fun working with Scott, and we are talking about possibly doing some more, so stay tuned. But right now, let's recap some of the big announcements at San Diego Comic-Con, starting with Marvel. Marvel stormed Hall H at San Diego Comic-Con this year, and they had so many projects to hype up, to showcase a little bit of, and to get us excited for. Mostly what we got out of Marvel's Hall H presentation is just a commitment that a lot more Marvel entertainment is headed our way, including a lot of new movies and shows for Phase 5 and Phase 6. But before we get there, we have to conclude Phase 4, which is going to wrap up with Wakanda Forever, Black Panther 2, and they released the trailer for this movie, and it looks absolutely phenomenal. The show was stolen by Angela Bassett's incredible commentary over the trailer, just powerful about the loss of all of their family members. Really, really heavy stuff, but beautiful imagery. We also are introduced to Namor. It just looks like it's going to be an accelerant on the whole Black Panther mythology, of course, dealing with the repercussions of the death of T'Challa. Chadwick Boseman's presence is in this trailer, and it's felt in this trailer, and boy, are we going to miss him very much when we see this movie, but I think the movie is going to do a very good job at honoring this actor and his performance in this incredible role. I cannot wait for Wakanda Forever. It does look magnificent, and of course the big question is, who is going to don the Black Panther costume and assume the mantle of the Black Panther going forward? I posed this question on Instagram and on Twitter, and I got a lot of responses, a lot of people thinking Shuri, and then a lot of people kind of wishing for Michael B. Jordan to make a reappearance and become Black Panther. I don't know how that will work. Maybe it's Killmonger from a different universe. We are, experiencing the multiverse across the Marvel landscape now. So who knows? Anything is possible in comic books and in comic book movies.
Wow! Jesus, what the hell, man?
Still in control, no overwhelming feelings of rage.
No! A normal amount of rage!
We also got an updated trailer for She-Hulk, which is going to be heading to Disney Plus very soon. And the trailer was much better than the previous one. I have to admit, I was a little bit concerned about the theming and the way that they were going to interweave comedy. It's kind of like an Ally McBeal meets the Incredible Hulk kind of vibe. And that's what they're shooting for. They're breaking the fourth wall like they've been doing in the She-Hulk comic books, which is kind of cool.
If you want to go back to your life as a lawyer, I respect that.
He doesn't mean that.
The cast is great in She-Hulk. I love Tatiana Maslany, and I can't wait to see Mark Ruffalo reappear as Bruce Banner and as the Incredible Hulk, who seems to take She-Hulk under his wing, their cousins, is kind of training her to channel her rage and use it for good. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this all plays out. But I think what has been teased in this trailer and from the interviews coming out of Comic-Con is that there's going to be a lot of cameos, and we get a little glimpse of Daredevil's new costume, which is very cool and very appropriate because one of the things that came out of Comic-Con is that there is a brand new Daredevil TV show starring Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio coming out in spring 2024. It's called Daredevil Born Again, and what we know is that there's an 18-episode commitment, so it's not kind of like a shorter form limited series like we've been seeing on a lot of the Disney Plus shows. They're really going gangbusters with this, and hopefully every episode is excellent, because one of the things that definitely happens, it happens even with 6-episode arcs, is sometimes there's filler, and I don't want to see any filler in this Charlie Cox-led Daredevil Reborn in 2024. Excited for that, but some of the other dates and little teases that we got is Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania comes out on February 17th next year. Secret Invasion is going to be in spring 2023. The next Guardians of the Galaxy film is out in May 2023. Echo, the series that's going to spin off from the Hawkeye show, is coming out in summer 2023. And it's probably going to bridge into the Daredevil show. And then Loki Season 2, summer 2023. The Marvels on July 28th, 2023. Blade coming out November 2023. Ironheart, the series that's going to follow Riri Williams, the young, super intelligent inventor that's going to kind of take the mantle of Iron Man. That comes out in fall of 2023. We've got the Agatha series in winter 2023 or 2024. They're still kind of figuring out the date. In May 2024 is Captain America, The New World Order, starring Anthony Mackie as Captain America. Looking forward to that one very much. And then Thunderbolts is confirmed, and they've been teasing some of the Thunderbolts characters across the Disney Plus series, like Falcon and the Winter Soldier. That comes out in the summer of 2024. And those are all Phase 5 films. And they didn't get too deep into talking about Phase 6, but they did tease that Fantastic Four is coming out in November of 2024. And then they also dropped a huge announcement with the fact that there are 2 new Avengers movies that are going to sum up a lot of the stuff that we've seen across Phase 4, 5, and 6. Those come out in May 2025 and then November 2025. And it's Avengers The Kang Dynasty and Avengers Secret Wars. And Secret Wars was a project that Marvel put together, I think with a toy company, to just showcase the entirety of the Marvel universe, the comic universe back in the day. And so clearly this is going to be, the Secret Wars project is going to showcase everything that Marvel's put together on screen in some capacity. So probably a lot of multiverse stuff and variations on different characters. It should be just absolutely epic. It's crazy that they're both going to come out in the same year. Those are going to be massive, and they're going to tie in a lot of loose ends. And it's going to be awesome to see how Jonathan Majors, who kicked ass in Loki as Kang, or a variation of Kang, how he's going to rise in prominence and become an incredibly important villain across the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We're going to see him again in Quantumania, and then he's going to pop in a bunch of other things along the way. No mention of a Shang-Chi sequel, but I'm sure we're going to see Shang-Chi in a bunch of different films, and we're going to see cameos. I mean, we're probably going to see the Hulk pop in at a bunch of different things as well. But God, we have so much incredible Marvel stuff to look forward to. I am excited. I've been a fan and been very entertained by almost all of the Marvel stuff that we've seen along the way. Eternals, I didn't really dig, and we're not really seeing anything more from Eternals, but I wouldn't be surprised if they come back in some capacity, because there's been some threads dropped in everything, right? You know, Charlize Theron and Harry Styles, all of these different cameos and new characters have been teased for new and reappearances, even Hercules in the last Thor, Love and Thunder. So it's going to be very interesting to see how all of this crescendos and comes together, but we're on a road trip now. You and I and everybody that loves Marvel and the MCU, we've got a lot to look forward to. I'm super stoked for it. I don't know how you feel. Let me know in the comments below. Even if you've had enough, I want to hear it. It's fine if you've had enough. I haven't. I want a lot more. I also wanted a lot more from DC than what we got at San Diego Comic-Con. Probably the biggest thing that happened at the DC panel at Comic-Con was that The Rock showed up in full Black Adam costume. He had another reveal, another look at this movie, which does look big, it does look epic, it does look exciting. It's going to be interesting to see how Hawkman and Dr. Fate interweave into this lore, and how Black Adam, who starts as a villain or somebody that's just out for themselves, become kind of an anti-hero and a protector of some sort. There were rumors and lots of internet chatter about the fact that Henry Cavill was supposed to show up and be teased as Superman, potentially fighting Black Adam in the new picture. But then more rumors and speculation erupted that Henry Cavill actually contracted COVID and couldn't appear at the con to not only talk about The Witcher, but then to make this big surprise reveal that he was going to be in Black Adam and be back as Superman. I kind of hope that that's going to happen. I think he is a very good Superman, but I'm going to talk a little bit about my thoughts on where the DC movie universe is right now in a little bit. But Black Adam, I am curious to see how it all comes together for sure. I like the commitment that The Rock always puts in, Dwayne Johnson always puts in to the pictures that he gets himself behind, not just as an actor and a performer, but as a business person. And $7 Productions, his production company, is all over the DC universe right now. Interesting casting choices with Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate. Interesting that Dr. Fate is making such a big, prominent spot for himself in the DC movie universe. So my fingers are crossed for Black Adam, but I was much more impressed by the trailer trailer that David F. Sandberg and Warner Brothers put together for Shazam! Fury of the Gods. This is a movie with 1 million people in it, and I think that could be a bit of a problem with the film. But the first Shazam movie has actually stood up to some repeat viewings. My kid is a big fan of the film. It gets a little too hyper-violent and crazy and disturbing, but it's got a lot of heart. It's got a lot of cool characters and great build-up, and it's really about family. And the fact that the movie in this trailer so blatantly acknowledges the lessons and messages of Vin Diesel and company in the Fast franchise and talks about it being about family in this, new Shazam verse. I really enjoyed that. I thought that was really fun. And, obviously Lucy Liu and Helen Mirren appearing in this movie as villains could be really fun as well. I like the powers, I like the build-up, but I like the reverential tone of it, the self-deprecating elements of Zach Levi's terrific performance as Shazam. And the kids from the first Shazam movie, who aren't really kids anymore, were all pretty damn terrific. So it's going to be cool to see how those performances have matured and how the heroes that they became in the first movie, spoiler, how they have grown in importance in the world that this movie is building up. It's cool. I mean, they've created a whole sort of new super team out of the Shazam universe. Hopefully it all clicks together. My one concern is that there's just going to be too many subplots and threads and characters for us to pay attention to, and not everybody is going to have a real time to shine in this thing. It's just going to be kind of a lot of color and flash and sizzle. But I know David F. Sandberg, the director, has been quite honest in how difficult these movies have been to make, but also I think quite forthright in his passion for it. And I think he proved himself. He made a pretty damn fun movie with the last one. So my fingers are crossed that Shazam! Fury of the Gods is going to be awesome. And both of those movies are coming out this year, and noticeably absent from DC this year was anything on The Flash and anything on Aquaman 2 for various reasons. You can probably guess why The Flash wasn't there. Ezra Miller has been in the news for all the wrong reasons recently. And Amber Heard is an element of Aquaman 2. She plays Mera, and she's been in the news because of her legal fight with Johnny Depp, and it's just been so gross to see this, awful side of this Hollywood romance play out everywhere. It was inescapable. And so Warner Brothers, I think, was backed into a corner. They really couldn't put anything front and center without there just being all of this vitriol and just negative publicity around The Flash and Aquaman 2, which is unfortunate because I think a lot of work has been put into both of those pictures. And The Flash, I think especially, is so key to pivoting wherever Warner Brothers and the DC movie universe is going to go moving forward. But as I reflected on what DC was showing off at Comic-Con, and I'm going to have a review for you of the new League of Super Pets movie in a second here, it really hit me that DC is a really awful quagmire. I kind of just been thinking, like, why don't you just start over, DC and Warner Brothers, scrub everything that you've done so far, and think about how you'll connect the universe, but really lean into the fact that these heroes and this mythology, this lore, came out of this golden era, and make a period Superman movie. Make something that starts us off in the 30s or 40s, or some amalgam of that era with this kind of looking forward, so the future in the past kind of thing, in this crazy version of Metropolis that really embraces it. And like the Tim Burton Gotham City, take Batman in a slightly different direction. Not necessarily campy, but not trying to make him so hyper real that we could look around the shadows and think we're going to see Batman running around on our streets. And it worked fantastically well to put Wonder Woman into World War I in that film. And I think DC should be thinking along those lines. It's so messy, it's so cluttered, there's so much baggage with the actors, but they have some beautiful characters, beautiful properties, and they really should just think about starting over again, especially if they want to bring these characters together. And I just couldn't drop thinking that over the course of San Diego Comic-Con and seeing all of the intelligent moves that Marvel has been making. And I know there's a lot of detractors out there that have kind of had it with the Marvel homogeny and the expectations and the sort of, the marketing loops that they have in each one of these properties. But I have been consistently entertained pretty much all the way throughout the MCU, and I think a lot of people have as well. And then also really surprised by some great choices like Moon Knight and Ms. Marvel. And so I'm really looking forward to seeing where Marvel is going to take us. And with DC work, I'm a lot more trepidatious and a lot more skeptical and hesitant. Not so much with what Matt Reeves is going to put together or what Joaquin Phoenix is going to do with his, next iteration of Arthur Fleck, but the DC universe in total. And that also stretches to the DC animation space, and that leads to my review of DC League of Super Pets. There's a pretty exciting cast in DC League of Super Pets. It's headed up by Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, and Kevin Hart. And we've got Keanu Reeves in here as Batman. We've got Kate McKinnon in the film as a hairless guinea pig who is a disciple of Lex Luthor, played by Mark Maron. Very interesting casting there. And a nice cavalcade of different talents. Diego Luna is in this movie playing a superpowered squirrel. And there's some interesting elements and interesting ideas in this film, which centers on the idea of Crypto the Superdog being Kal-El's best friend and feeling a bit threatened by his blossoming relationship with Lois Lane. And there are some great connections and homages to the Richard Donner Superman movie. We hear a little bit of the John Williams music score in there as we have the origin story of Crypto revealed to us. And I thought, okay, this could be really, really charming. But ultimately, the movie ends up feeling completely tepid and cynical and honestly quite lazy, especially when you consider the power and the beauty of the source material that's on hand here. The idea of following the exploits of Crypto and also Ace the Bat Hound and how they meet and how they are connected and the relationships of these pets to these other superheroes, cool concept. The problem is with this movie is that these superheroes that we get to know, of course we all know Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman, but I think the general population still has a lot more to learn about Cyborg and the Flash and Green Lantern and Aquaman. We get little sketches of these types of characters that are more superficial, stereotypical designs of what these characters have represented across all kinds of media. It's supposed to be a comedy, and all of this stuff being put together is supposed to be fun-loving and family-friendly, but it just doesn't land. The animation isn't that great in this movie, especially when you consider that there have been so many cool superhero films, like starting with The Incredibles and Big Hero 6, even Megamind comes to mind. The Despicable Me movies also have an element of superheroics in them as well. The superheroes in CG animation have played a pretty important part in storytelling over the last several years, and when you throw in Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman, and to a lesser extent Green Lantern and the Flash and Aquaman, you're kind of expecting the cacophony to dwarf the rest of the film ideas that are out there that are borrowed liberally from the Marvel and DC universes in the past. You really want this to be, no pun intended, the top dog in this kind of superhero animation space, and it's really not. I mean, we do get a couple of cool little action beats, but a lot of the background animation just seems really flat and stilted. There's some interesting production design ideas, but it's just not visually that stimulating, and the comedy is incredibly lazy as well. I didn't laugh, like have a real laugh all the way through, and that is just unacceptable for an animated CG feature in 2022. I mean, there's an expansive list of awesome CG movies out there that are fun for everybody, fun for kids, fun for parents and grandparents, everybody. And this movie kind of just narrows it down. There's a joke in the film about, what are you guys, the Paw Patrol? And I thought, the Paw Patrol has had some pretty decent episodes. There's superheroics in that series as well. And there's been some funnier stuff in that show than there really was in this movie. Some really low-hanging fruit, some silly gags. Kate McKinnon's got a couple of interesting things. She just adores Lex Luthor and just has starry eyes for him and wants to emulate his world domination. And then, of course, this guinea pig takes on some of the talents of Lex Luthor and ends up becoming super powered, and we see some other guinea pigs have powers of their own, and then all of these other characters that have been around, Ace the Bat Hound in this animal shelter, also acquire some superpowers and some affinity with the heroes that they're emulating. Interesting concepts, but not really well realized. And then I really started to think, what an opportunity for DC to just embrace these heroes and make awesome CG movies of these heroes, starting with a superb Superman tale. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is an Oscar-winning movie. There is your shot across the bow, DC. I know you've got these great DC animated features that emulate the comic book panels and pages and stuff, and they're super cool, and there's been some great animated interpretations there, but honestly, where is the budget for an epic-scaled Superman tale that just takes our breath away? And I think what's crazy about Superman in animated form is that it's 2022, This character is so meaningful and has been with us for more than 80 years, is world-renowned, and I think we still reference that Fleischer animation from back in the late 30s and 40s so much today because it's still jaw-dropping in 2022. It's beautiful work, but there is your opportunity, DC. You hire the best animators, you pop a huge budget into it, and you make an incredible Superman experience. There's that element there, that sort of like tease, that little morsel of that idea in this. But it's so flat and so lazy. And then you do something like that with Superman, you can go into Wonder Woman, and then you can make us a Batman movie. Then you can really explore the origins of Cyborg and the Flash and Green Lantern, show us all the Green Lanterns, but in an epic scale, a Spider-Verse type scale. And no, they don't. Instead, we get this half-assed, lazy, unfunny, head-scratching disappointment of DC League of Super Pets. And I know that this is a kid movie, I know that, but I'm also the target audience. I grew up with these characters. I love these characters. They have the Batman Danny Elfman theme in this movie. They have the Superman John Williams theme in this movie. Like, they are trying to get people like me to care. And I really checked out. I was so bored and so bummed out and disappointed by this. And what freaks me out a little bit about this thing is that, $7 Productions is the producer here. Dwayne Johnson is a star. The interviews that I've seen of Kevin Hart and Dwayne Johnson talking about this movie where they're hitting each other with tortillas and stuff are way more interesting than anything that I saw in this movie. And frankly, I was just shocked. Now I'm honestly really concerned about where the quality of Black Adam is going to be. If this is what we get with all of these characters, all of these toys in the toy box that the animators and the filmmakers had to play with this film, it's so weak. It's just so weak and forgettable post Spider-Verse. Inexcusable. Total waste of time. I did not like it at all, and there were kids in the theater with me, and boy, they sounded bored. Nobody was laughing. Yeah, lame. I'm going to give DC League of Super Pets a 3.5 out of 10. Whew! Good to get that off my chest. I was just appalled by that movie. All right, you guys, that's going to do it for the rundown today. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much to all of our channel members here on YouTube, all of our subscribers on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/EPN. I'll be back soon with some fresh content, and until then, play forever.